Is that good? Is that good? Okay, I think that's good. Okay, let me get settled again.
Are you settled?
I'm getting it. Don't look at my laptop. Hello.
Hellos.
Hello. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Well, you can't.
Hello.
Okay.
She's a newbie.
This is my grandma. This is her mother.
Hello.
This is Kelly.
I'm Kelly.
Yes.
I'm Kara.
I'm Allie. And this is Midnight
And
Gossip. Another Reddit one. I'm so excited for this one because I have a lot of family stories, and I kind of have like spouse stories for Gigi to listen to. If I call her Gigi, that's just what I call her. Everyone calls her Gigi, so
I call her mom, mama, whatever she answers to.
And I think you have more mother-in-law, mother stories.
Well, one's a mom story. The other ones are like mother-in-law situations. So it'd be good to get your take on it because you've been married for 36 years?
37.
37.
Going on 38.
Yeah. I have not been married.
She just whacked the mic into her cheek.
I have not been married, but it'd be good to get your take on it if it was to ever like happen a situation like this.
Yeah.
So,
are you excited?
Yes, I'm very excited.
She doesn't know what to do.
She was kind of worried. Yeah, she was kind of worried about coming. She's like, what do I say? We're like, just have fun. Let's go. Okay, so let's get into it. Do you want to go first?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
So this one says, am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law she was dead to me after she showed up in labor and delivery without my mother? So, for the past 3 months, it's been a very well-known plan that when I, 30 female, went into labor, my husband was going to drive me to the hospital, and my mother-in-law was going to pick up my mother, my kids, and my grandmother, all from one house. Both my mill and my mom were supposed to be in the delivery room. My gran was to watch the 2 kids in the waiting room. Everyone was in agreement with the plan. Now, my husband and I have 2 sons already, and for both births, my mother was present. She helped me through so much of the mental anguish and panic, especially after my last, whom literally almost killed me. I was bleeding out on the table, and my mom was the only one to keep me calm. I needed her to be there with me for this baby as well, mentally. So we worked this plan out months in advance, and everyone was on the same page. However, I go into labor. We make phone calls to my male and my mom, telling my mom to be ready and my male to go get my mother. An hour and 15 minutes later, my male shows up at the hospital without my mom, my kids, or my grandmother. She said, well, it's late, so we needed to just leave everyone asleep. It was 9:30 p.m. And then set her ass down on the chair in the delivery room and jumped on her phone. I told her in a pissed off tone to get my mom. That was the plan. I needed my mom. And she just wouldn't. At one point saying that she didn't feel up to driving that much. My mom lives 20 minutes from her house, an hour away. So I told her to get the fuck out of the room, and she was dead to me. The amount of resentment and disgust that I felt towards her in this moment is honestly not something I feel I will ever overcome in any time soon. She was pissed, saying that my mom got to experience 2 births already, and how she didn't do anything wrong and she was just being respectful of people's sleep. And where she wasn't leaving, she was actually escorted out. Now, my mom was able to make it to the hospital literally just as I was giving birth. My kids and my grandmother weren't able to make it though, which bothers me a great deal because we promised our kids that they would be the first to meet their sister, outside of us and their Grammy. I cannot forgive my male for this at all. I honestly feel like I hate her with every fiber of my being, but I'm being told that I'm taking this too far and that it wasn't that big of a deal. Am I the asshole?
By the way, Mill is mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Just so we know.
I've been a male. I would never do that to one of my daughter-in-laws. Disrespect their wishes, especially giving birth to my grandchild. But she sounds like very manipulative, that lady.
That person's not in the wrong at all. You're literally giving birth. What more can you do but ask your family members to just
birth plan,
Yeah, like follow your wishes, you know? Like have your family members follow your wishes, and that should be respected. It should be respected.
Yeah, well, I had to where she was there for me through it all, and thank God she was, because she held my hand. I had one epidural. I slept through the whole thing till it was time to push. And then
That
with
was a long night.
yeah, that was 23 hours of labor. But then with Remy, I was no epidural, no pain meds, no nothing. So I needed her there. So to have to, if I was married and my mother in law did that, oh, we'd be fighting.
And you had 3 kids.
I
How
had 3 kids, and the first one, my mom was by me. She was the only one there, but I was young and
Yeah.
single mom and that. The second child, I invited. Um, I wanted just my husband in the delivery room, but my parents could be at the hospital. So actually, both my husband and Papa and me, we had both our parents there, which was nice. But I wanted Stan to have that time of experiencing it on his own because he was a first time dad. And by the time I had Kara, I didn't care who came in the room. Just you all come in.
I think by your third, you're like,
I
eh.
had my mother-in-law was in Michigan at the time.
Yeah.
So I had my husband, my mother, and my best friend in the room.
It
Oh,
was an
that's cool though.
entourage.
Oh, yeah, and I really wouldn't have cared if, other people
But that's the thing, though. That was your guys'
But you
birth
have to,
plan.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have to approve of who's in the room, who
Oh,
needs
Yes.
to be there.
absolutely. You don't want anybody in the room causing you any stress because it's supposed to be your time. You just don't need to have people in there. And I don't think I would forgive my mother-in-law for a very long time after something like that. So
No.
No
No.
way.
No.
I'm
No.
like so petty. I would have been like, no, you need to leave. You're not allowed to see my kids for a while. Like, you just need to separate yourself from our family for a second.
Yeah.
yeah. I
Agreed.
wonder what her husband had to say.
It didn't say in the comments.
Yeah, I wonder what he had to say. It's his mom.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if it's like, because some moms can be very entitled if they have a like, like some of the sons are very like mama boy, like.
Oh, I have a
very
story for
enti-
that later.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. Okay.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
coming.
so I wonder if he was more of a mama's boy or if he told his mom off as well. Because I've also
Yeah.
seen stories where like the husband will say like, "Mom, you're stepping too far. You do need to leave." Like,
Yeah. I hope whenever I get married, I don't want any more kids. But if it was to happen, I hope like
hope it's a boy.
my mother-in-law's not like that. And my husband would step up if something were to happen like that. I know she would. She'd be like, "Oh, hell no."
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. No, that was like really
Yeah,
good. That's a
that
good
was
start.
did she just do what
I
I think
cannot.
she did?
Yeah, that was like, hello, Miss Girl? Are you thinking
Right.
straight?
Alrighty, what one do you got?
Okay, so I have Am I the Asshole for skipping Christmas with my parents since they won't treat me like an adult?
Oh,
This one is very interesting. Do you want me to tell you the overall vote of everything
sure.
right now or after?
You can do it after.
Okay.
Just read the story.
So I, 27 female, have been with my boyfriend, 33 male, for almost 2 years now. We will be getting married eventually, but it's not our priority. My mom won't let us share a bed if we come to see them for any reason. When we came over last summer, my boyfriend suggested renting a hotel so we could have privacy and be comfortable in a bed. It drove my mom nuts that we bypassed her little rules. She wouldn't drop it the entire time we were there, and she made a promise not to do that again. My boyfriend's mom and dad are retired in Mexico, and they're really chill. So we made plans to come visit them over Christmas. They are not Christian, so they don't really care whether when they see their son. They don't really care if they see their son on like religious holidays. Is basically what they're saying. We didn't tell my parents that we weren't coming. My mom asked me at Thanksgiving if I was going to hold my promise and not stay over at a hotel for Christmas. I answered truthfully and said that I would not stay at a hotel. I am sitting there on the balcony. I'm sitting here on the balcony in my future in-laws condo, looking at the Caribbean, waiting for the sunrise, and enjoying peace and quiet. I made a mistake of going online yesterday, and I saw a bunch of posts from my mom, my sisters, and how I was a jerk for lying about them to them about my plans. I may have been a little tipsy that night because I decided to respond. I said it was ridiculous of them to try to tell me that I couldn't share a room with my boyfriend, that I was keeping my promise by not staying at a hotel when when we were there, and if they had planned on putting everything on Facebook, I would be avoiding all visits for the foreseeable future. They took down their posts when everyone started crapping on them for trying to control me, but people did agree with them. Now they're texting me and calling me, saying that I was an asshole for making them look bad. I asked if they were trying to make me look good with their if they're trying to make me look good with their posts. They stopped for a while, but were more texts and voicemails came this morning. I'm kind of liking the idea of skipping out on the drama from now on, but I miss my dad and he's blameless in this. Am I the asshole?
I'm gonna let you take that one, Mother.
This one,
I
commenters
don't
had a
know.
lot.
How
I
old is
kinda-
she?
She's 27
And
years
her
old.
boyfriend's 33. I mean, no, like the whole sharing the bedroom thing is unreasonable. Like, I don't care if there's, I mean, religious. We talked about this last night with our true crime episode. There's a lot that goes on in religion, but again, they're grown adults. You can do what you want to do.
Well, I guess if they were staying at her house, they should
Respect it.
and
I
if
agree.
they don't want to get a hotel. And the
Yeah.
mom should be fine with that, you know. but-
Well, I was 27 and by then had 2 kids, but I get it. Like, I get both sides. Like, get it. She's 27 in a relationship. She's a grown adult, but also it's your parents' rules. It's their house, their rules. That's what I've always grown up with. Respect their house, respect their rules. And then, yeah, if they didn't like it, then she could get a hotel, and the
It's-
mom should have been fine with it.
It's very old fashioned, that's for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
In today's time for people, still having that rules, but there are
Some
people
people
out do. Yeah. And I guess she knows her parents. She knew the rules. So
yeah,
she just
that's true. She didn't know the. I mean, she just decided not to. The overall vote on this was that everyone sucks. Everyone in the story sucks. And so the top commenter.
They kind of all do.
Yeah, that's what everyone
yeah.
was like. You all kind of suck. So the top commenter said, "Yeah, I don't
I
know."
mean, she wasn't forthright. She didn't say, "Hey, I'm gonna be out of town for Christmas." So
Well, because that's what the commenter said. The top comment says, "Everyone sucks here. Your mom is horribly controlling. That is not in the question. But instead of saying, I won't be spending Christmas with you this year. I'm going to the in-laws' house. I will come to see you again. We'll stay at a hotel. You lied in a such way that you'd be attending. Instead of acting in the adult manner in which you wanted to be treated, you behaved like a kid."
If she was a real adult,
she did behave like a kid instead of. I agree with that comment.
If she wanted to be treated like adults, she could have had an adult conversation with her mother.
She simply could have said, like, "Hey, we're gonna go see the in-laws this summer. They
like,
want to see
Mom,
us."
I'm sorry
Yeah.
for hurt your feelings, but this Christmas I'm gonna go spend with his family,
Yeah.
and we'll do next holiday with you.
And that's so common. Once you're with somebody,
Seriously.
you trade off holidays.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's such like a real thing to be like, "Hey, Mom, we're gonna go spend the night with we're gonna go spend Christmas with the in-laws in Mexico for a little while."
She
I
would've been-
want to.
I'm sure she would have been like, send me pictures.
Yeah.
All that,
Or can I
everybody-
come?
I know everybody always lived here, so I didn't have the opportunity to say, we're going here or
Hey,
there.
when I become a nurse and get my house, we'll have Christmas at my house, okay?
well, some Christmases I have to visit your brothers.
That's if they're not still with you.
It's a big deal. But yeah, so everyone just kind of agreed on the story. Everyone sucks.
Yep.
Everyone sucks.
Yes.
Which I agree. I don't think the OP was very mature, and I don't think I think the parents need to calm down a little bit with their rules
Yeah.
of a
just little bit.
27-year-old and a 33-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, in my opinion. It's just kind of weird.
I get it though, because
Very controlling.
I was like, growing up, it was like, you live in my house or you're gonna be in my house, you need to respect my rules, which I get it. For parent aspect, I would want Letty or Remy to respect my rules. But if they came to me and said, "Hey, I'm gonna do this Christmas, if that's okay," yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Just call me on Christmas,
Yeah.
FaceTime me, do something.
Yeah.
So
Well, that was that one.
they're all
Yeah,
assholes all the way around.
they all just suck. I don't think I think all of the ones I chose were assholes. Oh wait, no. Anyway,
All right.
sorry. Continue.
All right, so I got another one. Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law that she's not allowed to meet her kids anymore? So basically spend time with our kids anymore.
The grandkids?
So the mother-in-law is not allowed to spend time with the grandkids anymore. Am
gotcha.
I the asshole? My husband and I have 2 kids, a female 5 and 8-year-old male children. After a very traumatic birth, after my older one, I decided that I'm not ready to go through that again, but we still wanted more children. So 5 years ago, we adopted. My mother in law cares for our family, but she makes her preference for Malcolm is more clear. So that's the boy.
Oh,
To begin, she was absolutely furious hearing that I would not be having another biological child and was instantly disapproving. After hearing we were going to adopt a child, her anger turned into rage. She screamed about how we didn't know the uh, parentage of that child and might end up bringing in someone who would disgrace her lineage. Lineage? Is that how I say it?
Lineage.
Lineage, yeah. My husband was able to calm her down. Thankfully, when she saw little Julia, it seemed like this was all behind us. Yesterday, Meal decided to visit us. My husband was away on a trip, so she was just helping around. I absolutely was exhausted, so I asked if I could go down for a nap, and she was more than eager. After a few hours, she woke up. Oh, sorry, she woke me up and informed me that she was about to leave. It was all good. I was cooking in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, I heard a loud bang, preceded with crying. It was Julia. When I rushed into the hall, I see Malcolm towering over her. You're not real. All of this is mine. He started screaming at her, which was incredibly confusing to say the least. After calming them down, I asked Malcolm what he meant. He then revealed that Grandma Muriel, so the mother in law, had told him that he was Mommy and Daddy's real son. This made me
no.
incredibly mad. I asked him what else Grandma had told him, and he told me all about how she had been telling him that Julia wasn't really his sister and how she should be extra attention for being extra special, like show extra attention for being special, how he's always going to be Grandma's favorite grandson, and so much more. Blinded with rage, I blocked Muriel on everything. After sending her a text delaying her actions, and how that was absolutely unacceptable, and how she'd never be seeing her grandkids until they're much older and understand the situation, so they wouldn't be swayed by her words. I probably overreacted, to be fair. She is quite an old lady. After he returned, we got into quite this argument, to say the least. My husband disagreed with me. He adores his mother and told me that stopping her from seeing the kids is inhumane. She simply is old fashioned and she didn't know her words would bring this big of an impact or some such. We will be having a civil discussion about this later. Then there's a side note, an edit. I'm sorry I didn't clarify this earlier, but both Julia and Malcolm know that she is adopted. I've had this conversation both with the children, although I've had it separately, sorry, I can't talk tonight, with both of them. I think I might have to have the conversation once again to make sure Julia knows that it doesn't matter whether she's adopted or not. Am I the asshole?
No, I have so many comments, but I'm gonna let Gigi take it away for a second.
No, I don't care if she is an older lady. She knows better than that, and she needs to be aware of how her bias and against that little girl,
Yeah.
could affect how the little boy looks at people and
Yeah.
treats them.
There's a
That's
comment.
so wrong. It really need to be addressed. It'd be hard to cut a grandma off from them for life, but
Not for life, but until she understood her
yeah, that
consequences.
that
Because there was also a comment, it made me mad because the husband was sticking up for his mother and not the wife. It said, one of the comments said, so your husband is saying he will let his mother abuse your daughter verbally, basically.
yeah.
You have a serious problem in your family and you need to get into counseling to fix it immediately before he ruins that little girl's life.
Yeah, she could have the feeling of inferiority, and
Or that he
carry
doesn't
that
love
with her
her.
her whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This story makes me mad because it's like to just because a child is adopted, if you as a grandma do not love that child just as much as you love your other grandkids, you are not a grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have this in our family.
Yes.
Literally, she freaking loves every one of her grandkids like
Equally.
equally. And so that's what made me mad about it is because it's like no matter what, even if the child's adopted, like you still love that child, and to tell an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, they're 8 and 5, right?
Yeah, the
8
8-year-old's the male.
They're
So
Letty
told
and
the
Remy's age.
yeah.
Imagine Gigi going up to
Remy.
Remy and Letty and being like, Letty, I love you so much more than I love Remy. Remy would have a mental
She'd be
that
like,
would be
Gigi
trauma.
doesn't love
Gigi
me.
doesn't love me.
Yeah.
Obviously, they both know that we
Yes.
all love
Oh,
them so
they're
much.
wrapped around Gigi's finger. That's sweet. They love
And
Gigi's.
blood isn't make you family.
No, blood does not make
No.
you family at all.
Mm-mm.
No, that's why the story and the husband again,
Yes.
bro. You are married to this person. You are not married to your mom.
Yeah.
And you know
I
what
hate
your
that.
wife went through and you both agreed to adopt, so you had to feel some
Yeah.
type of way. So you could have put your mom in place and said, "No, hold up. He and she are equally the same. We love them the same.
And you will treat them the same, or you will be
Otherwise,
welcome in our lives.
yeah. Otherwise, no contact."
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes me so mad. I don't like when stories go like that, where like the son is so involved with his mother-in-law. It kind of like weirds me out of like, hey, you have been with your wife and you have chosen to be with your wife. This is someone you chose to be with. You chose to adopt your daughter. And you're not gonna stick up for your wife or your daughter?
Right.
Like, ew. That's all I want.
People
is
in the
ew.
comments
Is like
were sticking up for the little girl and not the husband.
that's so
Yeah.
sad.
That makes me really sad. I mean, I would feel very upset if my husband took his mother's side in a situation like that, because
Yeah.
it's kind of like a no-brainer. You treat her the same as everyone else. She is our daughter. She is your granddaughter. She is just as loved. So
Yep.
Yep. That is so. Oh,
That
that's
was mine.
so,
I knew
like,
that'd be a good
icky,
one. That's
icky,
like, oh,
icky,
this would be a
icky.
good one to talk about. So
Oh, that one I have.
my eyes are
I have.
don't cry,
Don't
Gigi.
cry.
It's
watering.
okay. It's okay.
Watering.
It's okay,
Uh,
Mama.
That reminds me. I have a bunch, but I can't obviously read them all. I only have to pick a couple. There was one. I'll like briefly. I don't want to read it all, but it was basically like the husband was very, very abusive, forced his wife to have 6 kids, and then would not stand up for any of the kids.
Oh,
Like disgusting human being. But like it just reminds me, like if you're choosing to have children with somebody, you have to like love them. I don't know
Yeah.
how people don't love children if they
I
have.
don't know how they don't
Blech.
love them, and I don't know how they mentally check out, because
Yeah.
that's happened too, and it sucks how they mentally check out. It's like, be present, be there.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this by myself. I mean,
No, 2 people sat down and decided to have a child.
yeah,
It takes 2 to tango.
it does take 2 to tango, and yes, 2 to tango. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. It also
Yeah.
takes 2 to adopt. So,
yes, it does.
Right.
2 to adopt. Yes, it does. So the husband, shame on you. Mother-in-law, shame on you.
yes, shame to everybody.
Shame.
Except
Y'all
for-
are
except-
assholes besides
except
the
for the
kids and the
mom.
mother.
And the
Yes.
little baby girl.
Yes.
Aw, that's so
What do you
cute.
got for us?
Okay, this one's kind of funny. Just am I the asshole for wanting to divorce my husband because whoa, that's the wrong nope. Am I the sorry. Am I the asshole for wanting a divorce because my husband insisted that my boobs were fake? Her tatas were fake.
That sounds stupid.
Yeah.
It's kind of I don't know. I read it and it's really freaking funny, but then at the same
So
time,
we think she got a boob job, and she's saying she didn't.
basically,
I mean, you could
but
feel them.
But there's just wait. Okay.
Oh, go. Okay.
Yeah, there's
I'm like,
a little
you
more.
can feel them.
So, it has other topics in it, not just about the boobs. So that's what I want to talk about.
Ah, gotcha.
So I, 30 female, do have very large boobs. A 38G to be specific. The sound that you just made was crazy. You were like, oh. I have been with my husband, 33 male, for about 10 years, and while having no children together, we are happy. Recently, he's been checking out my body more than before, and I don't mean in like a sexy way kind of way, but more of what could you be hiding kind of way. Now, I by no means am skinny. I'm 5'5" and 180 pounds, nowhere near as good as I could be, but really I don't have any motivation, and I don't care as long as I don't look I haven't showered in months, and I choose to be like that. I choose to be like that. Now I have a multitude of scars on my body, and my husband noticed. One is under my armpit, which I got from running up the stairs with a friend and scraping it against the corner. The second one, I'm not even sure where it came from. It's thin, so I assume it came from my childhood cat. But it goes down the side about 4 inches and on my rib and on my ribcage. My husband has been getting into more shows about spouses lying to their partners about things which I do enjoy watching myself, but it's a little odd. My husband randomly came up to me and started feeling on my boobs, which isn't out of the ordinary but still random. I asked him what he was doing, and he said you couldn't lie to me like that. I asked what he said. I asked about what he said. I said my boobs are real. And what are you talking about? He said no, they're not. You have two scars by your boobs that clearly show you had a boob job. I told him that's not how it works, and they usually cut from under the boob, and he said that they cut from the side as well, so that she's a liar for not telling him.
I love how a man
Wait,
thinks
how-
he knows it all.
How long had they been married?
10 years.
Wouldn't he have known?
I don't know. I told him I wasn't lying and that he was being weird. Cue an argument about them and cue an argument, and I left with our cats to a friend's house. That exact friend I got hurt with the scar. I explained what happened to her, and she called my husband and yelled at him. His mother also yelled at him for that, but his dad is on his side. After I agreed to come back home, he said that he'd forgive me if I just admit that they were fake. I told him they weren't and that you had seen me when I was skinny and could tell it was because of my weight gain. He brought it up the time that I had to go home stay for 6 months because of my grandmother who sadly passed away. This is when he thought I had my boob. This is when he thought that she had the job.
And he's bringing this up 10 years later?
Yeah,
What a
well, there's a
weirdo.
comment that we're gonna get to because this comment disgusts me, but it makes sense. Um, when she came back from that family trip, she had gained weight, which is basically just what she's talking about in this last
Normal
paragraph.
as a
Yeah,
female.
yeah. He continued to pester me about my boobs until I told him I wanted a divorce or at least a separation for a little bit. He pedaled back and begged me not to, but I had made up my mind. He called me numerous times after I'd left for work crying and begging me to come home. I told him no, and that if he couldn't leave it alone, I wouldn't come back. He started throwing insulting names at me, which is where I hung up. Now his friend and girl best friend are calling me an asshole for wanting a divorce
Oof.
over a simple issue. So am I the asshole?
No.
This is really stupid to be talking about when you're
And
married for 10 years.
why
Yeah.
is his friend inserting herself into their business, first of all?
Exactly.
Doesn't belong.
Exactly, and that's please hold.
Yeah.
Let me find it.
It doesn't make sense. What did he want? I mean, what did he want out of it? 10 years later to say you had a boob job, you know?
Yeah, like
You've enjoyed these boobs for 10
exactly.
years.
That's what I was gonna say. So there's a comment thread here that someone goes, "Oh, someone planted this seed in his head," and then someone else goes, "Given his dad is on his side, I'd guess he's the source of the earworm," which also means his dad has been staring a lot. And then there's also a girl best friend that's mentioned at the end. Another comment, definitely something goes along the lines too big to be real.
That's what I'm saying. So the girl, somebody's planted the seed in his head, and for the girl best friend in
Yeah.
quotes. I don't trust many girls. Girl best
Hey,
friend.
I have a guy best friend.
Well, that's different. I know, but
I'm
I'm
just kidding,
just,
I'm just
I'm just saying, as you get older, girls get more cattier.
No,
Yeah.
that's so true.
But why she shouldn't insert herself if it doesn't involve you? Don't insert yourself in somebody else's marriage.
Exactly.
That's just the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Right.
It's so silly.
Yes.
It's so silly. It's
No,
like-
she's not the asshole. He's the asshole.
I think it is a bit of a stretch to get divorced over this, but at the
Yeah.
same time, if he's constantly going to be like, "Oh, you got a boob job," just to annoy you for the next however many years you're together in the rest of your life, then yeah, I wouldn't want to be around him either.
Well, if he's not going to believe you and try to have you admit to something that's not
what
true.
what else is he going to try to make you admit?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And if he's sitting there nitpicking every part of your body,
The part that disgusts me is like the comment about like his dad being on his side because his dad probably was like, "Hey, those don't look too real." Like
Yeah.
that's disgusting.
yeah.
It was either his dad or the best friend for sure.
or both.
Yeah.
Yeah, or both.
Or both.
Could you ever imagine getting divorced over that? Papa
No.
wouldn't do anything like that though.
No, I can't.
He
That's
doesn't even notice when she gets a
10 years is
haircut.
a long time. They just need to go to counseling. I don't know.
Yeah, I think counseling's a good
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she'll be like, don't you like my haircut? He goes, you got a haircut? Like, Papa's not
Yeah.
very observant when it comes to that.
No, he's not, but I'm not going to
Force
divorce
him over that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That was
All
just a
right.
silly one I found. I liked it.
I'll
So.
read one of mine. It says, am I the asshole for finally confronting my mom and how she prefers my sister in law over me? I'm her own daughter.
Ew.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sorry for grammar mistakes. I'm currently in my feels right now, is what it says. I just went out to dinner with my mom and dad, both 56. I live with them while I go to grad school. Oh, her grammar does suck. While I go to grad school. Me, female 24. I'm very grateful. I was always taught to have super good manners, and so was my brother. My brother, 28, is married to my sister in law, 27. We just returned from a week long trip to an expensive location that my parents paid for. We stayed at the same house, and all of us siblings had to pay for was our plane tickets. I thanked my parents up and down for paying for the rental and pretty much the whole entire vacation. While on vacation, my sister in law assumed we'd be coming back next year and showed off clothes for her baby that she's currently pregnant with. For next year, I found it really odd that she assumed we were going next year since, after all, my parents paid for the entire thing. Also, it was never set in stone that we would go next year, and also, I never heard her say a thank you to my parents. Of course, that doesn't mean she wasn't thankful just because I didn't hear it, but my dad insinuated she didn't, is what it says. I went to dinner with my parents last night and I brought up how I thought it was weird how I. Oh, wait, sorry. Went to dinner last night with my parents and I brought up how I thought it was weird that she never said thank you to them. Just to let you all know, talking poorly about my Sil is a huge no no, especially for my mom. My mom treats her like the daughter she never had, even though I'm her only daughter. So when I mentioned it to my dad, he agreed, but my mom was so pissed and hasn't talked to me for the rest of our time together. Even in the car, I apologized to my mom for talking so negatively about my sister in law, but she's still ignoring me. I made it clear that just because what I thought my Sil did was weird, that doesn't mean I don't like her or think she's a bad person or think down on her. Still, she's upset with me. This isn't the first time. To bring up, not to being up the office joke, but if my mom had two bullets, had to shoot someone, she'd 100% shoot me twice. It's no doubt in my mind. My mom complains about me nonstop to my sister in law, which I've overheard many times, so I don't have much of a relationship with my sister in law. She's also assuming my mom and her mom are paying for the elaborate and expensive baby shower and sends them links to different venues all the time, which I also think is weird. On top of it, my mom blamed my dad for my sister in law being greedy and that he put it in her head so he needed to suck it up and pay. I'm fed up with this. I hate how I can't talk to my mother about my sister in law and she thinks I'm jealous of their relationship. Since my mom pretty much hates me, I confronted her, but it's all the same as the past. My mom is mad at me for saying anything negative about my sister in law, and I'm the bad guy. I gave up a long time ago trying to please my mother, but it still hurts. I feel guilty for upsetting my mom and saying anything in her to her in the first place. I just don't want my parents to be taken advantage of. Am I the asshole for speaking up?
No, the sister-in-law is very entitled. For some reason to her
That was really hard
her
to read, by the way.
in-laws.
The
Yeah,
grammar
I
was
bet. I'm so
totally
sorry.
all over.
She seems very entitled to other people's money and takes advantage of that. I don't know if that's just
I
like
don't know, but I mean, for the mom to get so defensive,
I could see that would bother me if I was the daughter.
yeah, it would bother
And she
me.
assumed that she didn't say thank you, but that doesn't mean she didn't say thank you when they were alone together.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it bothered me, and I think if I brought that up to you, I mean, we have a pretty open communication as it is, but I don't think you would get so mad at me. You wouldn't speak to me if was
no.
like,
And I
hey,
really don't think the sister in law is really the one the villain in this.
It's probably the brother.
Be honest with you, because maybe she's sending them venues because they've had discussions about it.
Yeah.
You know, so that the girls who wrote the story is just assuming she's being pushy, but maybe that's not the case.
Yeah, but for the mom to act so like,
I love how
No,
like
I don't think it might not be the case that the sister-in-law is being the pushy one. I think um the mom maybe just really wants to be liked by the sister-in-law or something. I don't know.
yeah, I can see your point. I love how Gigi is like maybe she's not like maybe Gigi's like the nice ones like
I
maybe
know.
she's not, and we're both sitting over here like
Like,
no,
no.
we hate the sister-in-law.
I'd have been
No,
like,
but
first
I
of all, you
agree.
treat my sister-in-law more like a daughter than me.
No,
You get a
I
sh-
agree with the fact that I definitely think the mom is more of the like source of all of the sister-in-law's entitlement,
Yeah.
because this mom is like obviously putting in ideas in her head, be like, hey, we'll pay for the baby shower, hey, we'll pay for
Yeah.
vacation, hey, we'll pay for this, hey,
Yeah.
that, blah, 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 blah. And the comment on like the dad also had said something about paying
Yeah.
for the baby shower or whatever. Like it seems like they have had conversations like that. However, the original question of like, is she the asshole for being upset? Absolutely not, because
No.
your mother should treat you like you're
She's
like a
entitled to her
daughter.
feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had 2
Yeah.
sister-in-laws, but I would never like think that you would treat them better than me or this and that. You know what I mean? Like you all have your like we have a special bond because I'm your daughter, of course, but you have your special bond like with Allie's mom. You
My
know,
friendships
so
with
the,
with my daughter-in-laws.
yeah, like they're all different. You know what I mean? So I would never be like, she likes her more than me, you know. But I would say something, be like, Mom, why are you getting so pissed at me for asking the question?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I would
I
be like,
think
watch the attitude, and we need to have a talk, me and
I
you.
think the being like, hey, sister-in-law's kind of being very ungrateful for this, and the mom being like, no, she's not. Like, don't talk about your sister-in-law like that.
Yeah, I
Like
would have been
that's
like,
kind of
I would have been
crazy.
like, pump the brakes. Me and you need to have a
Yeah.
conversation.
That's
What's
kinda
going
crazy.
on? Like,
Yeah.
what's really going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were to jump down my throat for asking that question, I'd be like, whoa.
I think there's got to be more to it.
Yes.
I definitely think there's another
Yes.
side.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 sides to every story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dun,
For
dun,
real.
dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Okay, well that was
That
your
was
last
it.
one, right?
That was my last one.
Okay,
Yep.
I have 2 more, but I want you guys to pick which one because they're both very short and they both have to do with food. So I'm gonna read you guys the titles and you guys get to pick which one you guys want to
Okay.
To do with food?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We like that.
So am I the asshole for it's like a bad thing about food though. It's like really
Okay.
it's yeah. Anyway. The first one is am I the asshole for refusing to make my niece special food for our family gathering? So that's the first one. Or am I the asshole for making my boyfriend eat meat at a family gathering even though he's a vegetarian?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
an
she's an
asshole.
asshole.
She's an asshole for that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Is that the one you want to hear?
Yeah.
Okay. This one made me mad as well. The other one also made me mad, but this one was definitely just weird. My boyfriend, 24, and I, 28, have been together for 2 years. Yesterday, we were visiting my family because we won't be able to visit them on Christmas. So we wanted to drop off some presents. It was also the first time my boyfriend had met my entire family. So it was kind of important. Here's the thing. I forgot to tell my mom my boyfriend is vegetarian. So my mom made a turkey.
Ooh.
And there wasn't anything else to eat besides some snacks here and there. When I realized that, I quietly asked my boyfriend, please not cause a scene and just eat the food and compliment my mom. He tried to argue back, saying that he doesn't want to lie to my mom, but I told him he would come across as rude if he didn't at least try it.
Mm-mm.
And I didn't want to ask him, and I didn't want him to make a bad impression, so he sucked it up and ate an entire plate and told my mom that it was delicious, which obviously made her happy. We had a good evening and everyone seemed to like him, but when we drove back home, he brought it up again and said that he thinks it's fucked up of me to expect him to eat meat when I know how much it disgusts him. At this point, I apologized to him, but I still don't think it's that bad to eat a bit of turkey once. To make a first impression on my family, am I the asshole?
Yes.
Yeah, because he's not like choosing not to eat turkey all willy-nilly. It's his way of life. He is not eating meat.
He said it disgusts him. He doesn't
Yeah.
like the feeling. So to make him
Mm-mm.
eat something that makes him feel gross
I would
as a
have,
girlfriend of 2 years.
yeah, I would have went
Yeah.
to my mom and be like, Mom, I'm so
I
sorry.
forgot. What else can we
I
make?
fucked up. I forgot to tell you he's vegetarian
So we could make him, a peanut butter sandwich. I don't.
or a
But he
salad.
also didn't like. He also, I don't think he was really like, I need to eat food. I think he was more like,
I'll eat
because
the
there was nothing,
snacks.
there was nothing there that was like, oh, he needed to eat food.
No,
Like,
he said there were snacks. I'm sure he would have
yeah,
been fine
he
with
would
the
have been. I
snacks.
think, if anything like this would have happened, like, oh, it's okay. Like, it was a misunderstanding. Like, I'll sit
forgot
this
to
one
tell
out.
my mom.
Yeah, like, I'll sit this one out. I don't need to eat. I'm fine. I ate
Yeah.
before. Like, blah, blah, blah. Or go get food after for him.
Yeah.
Like, be a good girlfriend. I'm sorry, 2 years.
Be respectful, and I'm sure your mom would have totally understood.
Yeah, I don't see why the mom wouldn't have understood.
Yeah.
Unless she was just like as crazy as this daughter, but
Well, that's
No, she probably would have completely understood. And had she had told her, would have had a vegetarian option too,
yeah,
It would
I
have been like me, knowing me, I forget a lot of stuff. So I'd be like, "Oh, mom, crap, I forgot to tell you he's vegetarian." He would have been like, "Oh,
Oh,
crap,
nice. You're going to
tell
tell me
me
that now?
and then we would have figured out something. I
Yeah.
wouldn't force my boyfriend
Yeah.
of 2 years to
Yes.
eat because one, that's built dishonest. That's not breaking down the trust between you two. First of all, and you're going against his body, basically.
yeah.
She's an asshole.
She
Yeah.
is. She's
That's
a
what all
big
the
a
comments
hole.
the comments say you're the asshole for oh my god, I'm so sorry. I read that so wrong. You're the asshole. I thought it said you're the asshole for respecting your boyfriend's feelings. I'm like, she did not. But it says you're the asshole. Respecting your boyfriend's feelings, beliefs, and personal decisions should be more important to avoiding an slightly awkward conversation, especially one that would have been your fault because you didn't mention he was vegetarian in the first place.
Yep.
It was her fault. This whole thing was her fault
Mhm.
to force the victim in
Yeah,
the
and
situation.
why is it awkward to be a vegetarian?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's weird.
I personally can do it because I like my meat, but hey, more power to you.
Yeah, but some people it just makes them feel so disgusting.
Yeah, and that's
I
on
don't like
them. Like,
turkey.
if my friend's vegetarian, okay, you eat your vegetarian, I'll eat my burger, but hey, you
And then
eat your
and then
veggie.
like if they were like if the daughter had like come up to her mom and been like, hey, like he's vegetarian so he's not gonna eat this food, she could have been like, sweetie, like I'll like on the drive home we'll go get you food if that's
Yeah.
if you don't want to eat anything here.
So what if he was like, couldn't eat gluten? Would you not tell her mom that and then make him sick?
That's so
Right?
funny you
He was-
said that.
Yeah.
The other story about the niece was about gluten.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was about like Thanksgiving and they refused to have the mom bring gluten-free options for the
That's
niece.
messed up.
And she was like, I worked so hard on cooking this meal, you cannot bring other stuff. Like
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
so
Well, we had your other grandmas over to my house, and I knew they couldn't eat gluten, so
Mhm.
I made the gravy with gluten-free flour,
Yeah.
almond flour, and I just made other options. They
Crackers.
couldn't have the stuffing though because I didn't know how to make gluten-free stuffing.
But we had crackers that were gluten free.
Yeah,
We had that stuff, and we had a couple other
And
things.
if you guys had
and I
not
made the gravy was gluten-free, so they could put it over their turkey and stuff. So yeah.
and if you guys had not known, like they would have been like, "Oh, it's okay. I just won't eat this," or like, "We'll find something in the pantry you can't eat."
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be a big deal. To
But
be
like you
hey,
make accommodations. Like if
Yeah.
I know we're thinking you had your grandma's Gina gluten free, so we had a trial and error for you. You know what I mean?
That's
So
true. Yeah.
if you were like, hey, can we make something gluten free? Absolutely.
Yeah, we did go gluten free for a while
Yeah, we
because of
did.
me.
But you,
I had my
It-
gluten
it
free
was a-
Oreos.
It was a try.
But
It
when
was
you're
a
going
trial
to
and error.
someone's house for dinner, you can't expect them to. You
Yes,
just have
correct.
to eat around it.
And I think a lot of people who are vegetarian, gluten free, who have those kind of certain eating accommodations, they don't expect it going to other people's houses.
they'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless this girlfriend was like, "Hey, I told them." Like that is so crazy. But like, I don't think they would expect it. And but I also don't see how it is rude not to eat. I mean, we love like our household loves like food in general. My mom side of the family, like that's my grandpa's love language is like feeding people.
Mhm.
And so like but at the same time, even though it is like food is such a big thing in my family, like just because one of my friends or boyfriend had came over and been like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I just like can't eat this. Like I don't really want to eat." I don't think anyone would be upset about it.
Mm.
And I don't think
No.
it would make them feel bad for it either. You would be like, okay, and then tell your family, like, hey, he really just can't eat this, or his stomach's sensitive, blah, blah, blah. We would be okay with that.
Yeah.
So,
So I just think that was a little crazy one.
yeah,
Mhm.
she's definitely an asshole on that one.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that was my last one.
And that was it. So that's our Reddit
How
stories.
was it for you?
It was good. It's comfy. I'm by two of my favorite girls. So.
We love this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Allie.
I'm Kara,
And
I'm Kellie.
aka Gigi.
okay, Gigi. Good night.
Good night.
Wow.
Oh,
Are you gonna leave that in there too?